So Saurabh already talked about running these simple experiments in Mini-NDN. So before going to the next thing, which is a graphical user interface for Mini-NDN, I'm going to first talk about running like some kind of real application inside Mini-NDN because I'm going to use the same example later. For this, I'm going to use this state vector sync example. This is really just a simple application, chat application on state vector sync. It's basically on a startup state vector sync, and then it's going to start up a thread to publish something, a chat message, every 500 milliseconds. So it's going to sleep for 500 milliseconds, then publish a message, and then it's going to keep doing this. Someone publishes something new, state vector sync is going to tell everyone something was published, and then the receiver is going to fetch that data from state vector sync, and then they're going to just log that to the console. And so we can then later look at these log files. So it's like a really simple application that you can build, which uses sync. So I'm going to use this as like an example for running a real application in Mini-NDN. And for that, I'm going to use this Mini-NDN script, in which I'm going to, so the script starts here. First, we have everything that Saurabh already described, which is cleanup and all of that. Then, for example, what we're going to need here is setting the strategy, which Saurabh already talked about. So we have this prefix ndnSVS that we use inside our application, which needs to have the multicast strategy for a state vector sync. And so we're going to do that, set this multicast strategy for all of the nodes. So it's going to be all of the nodes set the strategy to multicast. Then we're going to add these static routes using the routing helper, which is going to set up routes to ndnSVS at all of the nodes. And this graph.calculate and possible routes is actually going to set up these routes. So it's going to call NFDC everywhere. And so this is just another example that if you want to clear cache at all of the nodes, we don't need to do that here. But then you can do something like this. Just call NFDCS erase / on all of the nodes. And so the important part here is this app manager class, which Mini-NDN defines. And you just have to call this app manager class, pass it a list of nodes, which is here, all of them, and then pass it a class that implements an application class. So that's this SVS chat application, which is defined over here. What this is going to do is it's going to start it's going to start whatever you define over here on all of the nodes that you send the list over there. So in this case, what it's doing is it's just calling this command, which is basically the executable file that we have in wherever we have it in our file system. And along with it, it's going to set the identity, like the name of the node for SVS. And then it's going to call application.start. It's going to call this command, and it's going to give it the name of a log file. All right, so I just quickly described the application and the script. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this from scratch on a machine. So here I basically have nothing. So I'm going to use Docker to run Mini-NDN. Basically, all you need to do is you need to have Docker install, and then you need to run this container with privileged mode. So you just have, we have this pre-built Mini-NDN container over here. And if you're running this for the first time right now, it's going to take a bit of time because it's a big image. So, but all I have to do is run this, and as soon as I do that, this new container, which runs Mini-NDN, and now I can do anything inside it. So, so right now this is a new empty container. I don't have anything in it. So first thing I'm going to do is I need to run this example. I need to get this example. So I'll go into examples. I have all the default examples of Mini-NDN over here. And then I'm just going to get these two files. Actually, I'm just going to get this script right now. So the next thing I need to do is I need to get state vector sync. And I'm going to clone that here because our example needs the ndnSVS library. So I'm going to clone that. And I did not set up any of this previously, just to show you how it can be done. Now I can go into this and build it. Okay, before building it, what I'm going to do is get our application, which is kind of an example for SVS. So that's going to be this file. I'm just going to get this. And now I simply have to build it. and I'm going to install it. You want to do sudo over here. So this is going to install the SVS library, and then I have to do sudo all the config. So now, hopefully, our demo should run. I'm not going to try it right now, but if you can just actually run it, build examples, have demo, and so that's working. We just didn't pass it the right parameters. So now what I'm going to do is run our script, which is this state vector sync NDN mini-NDN script. And again, what it's going to do is it's going to start up this application of all of the nodes, and then it's just going to wait for 10 seconds, and then it's going to stop. And so then we can look at the logs, whatever logs it generated. So that's just going to be Python 3 svs.py. And so it started up the network, added the links, it's starting up NFD. It's going to add the routes to the fib. This is for the routing helper that I called earlier. And it's going to clear the content store, which we don't really need to do right now. And now it's just waiting for 10 seconds. And after 10 seconds, the experiment is done, it shut itself down. And now we can just go to TMP Mini-NDN. We have all of our nodes here, and in log, we'll have our state vector sync log. So this is the log that we expect. So we first have that everyone joined the group chat because we had this 4-node topology. So we had the node itself and then 3 other nodes. And then every node publishes something. So publishing is this node A published the first publication around the same time BC and D also published their first publication. So A got this first publication from BC and D, and so on. So we have all of these logs till publication 19. At this point, the application shut down. And we also have all of these logs for the others. So we have the same thing for a very simple application in Mini-NDN. And when you do that, you can later study the logs and see what's happening. So for example, I can just add a timestamp over here, and that timestamp is going to let me figure out, for example, the latency. When was a message published and when was it received at the receiving end? And I can simply do that by looking at the log files later.